Right, everybody, welcome back to A Person's Haven. My name is Lindsay. Thank you for watching this video. If you're new here, welcome. Today we are in the kitchen and we are trying a brand new recipe. If you've been following along, we had a ton of carrots come out of our garden this year, and we froze a bunch, we pickled a bunch, and we processed a bunch in the pressure canner, but we still have tons of carrots. And one of my favorite YouTube channels that I follow is Acre Homestead. And a few times I have seen her make this carrot salad and it looked amazing. So I got all the things to make that salad and we are going to try it. I'm going to make it a little bit different than she does. She takes her vegetable peeler and she makes the carrots into these ribbons, and it looks stunning and beautiful. And unfortunately, we only had little stubby carrots left by the time I decided I wanted to do this. So all of my carrots are cut into slices, which is fine. We are still going to make the sauce to go on them, and we are going to give this a try. I'm excited. The recipe sounds very good, and I think it should be delicious. So the first thing that we have to do is we make the sauce that goes on the carrots. So the first ingredient is 1/3 cup of cilantro. So let me grab the cilantro. I bought this cilantro over the weekend, so it needs to get used up. Let me get a cutting board. All right, so we have the cilantro, the cutting board. This is my 1/3 cup measure that I'm going to use. I personally do not like cilantro, but I am going to make this how the recipe says so we can give it a fair try. And I hope we like it because I bought a bunch of stuff to make this. So I'm going to, might just start with half and see how that, where that gets me. I'm going to test out this cutting board again. It's the one my mother-in-law got for me because she didn't like my white cutting board when she watched my videos because it is stained and dirty. And it's not really dirty, it's clean. It's just stained from carrots and vegetables and whatever else we cut on there. Good Lord. I tried to stage everything so it's all ready and we can make this nice video. But apparently I need more room. All right. Let's see how much we got with this. It's going to be roughly about the correct size or measurement size. So I do have a bunch left. I told one of my coworkers I was going to make this and bring it in next week for all of us to try because she's off tomorrow. And so I will use that to make a second batch if we like it, which I'm hoping we do. All right, so we're going to put that in our bowl. I'm going to move this out of our way. And I'm going to put this back in this bag and in the fridge. All right, the next ingredient says 1/4 of a cup of fresh lemon juice. I do not have fresh lemon juice, so I'm using bottled lemon juice. And this is 1/4 of a cup measurement here. We're going to put that in. And then it says 3 tablespoons of tahini. So this is one of the ingredients that I went out and bought. So this is tahini. I didn't have a clue what tahini was, but it is roasted and ground sesame seeds. So oh, it's really runny. I thought it would be thick like peanut butter. Let me see if I can show you guys. Really runny. So it says 3 tablespoons. So here's my tablespoon. I'll do 3 of those. 1 and 3. Trying not to make a ginormous mess, but I'm kind of making a ginormous mess. Sorry if you hear anything in the background. My husband is in the other room. Oh gosh. Okay. The next says 2 tablespoons of honey. I have this honey, so I am just going to use this. Okay. And I will link this recipe down below. Actually, it's on Becky from Acre Homestead. It's on her website, which is called Scratch Pantry. I will link that. I'll also link her YouTube channel because she is where I get a lot of my inspiration and courage to even be on YouTube and filming videos. All right, the next, it says 3 tablespoons of olive oil. We only have avocado oil, so that is what I'm going to use. So 3 of those. Okay. And then it says 3 cloves of fresh garlic minced. So let me grab that. I actually have this bag of peeled garlic that we used for our pickled carrots. All right, so I'm going to do 3 cloves. I'm going to put it through my press. Okay. And then the next says half a teaspoon. Got a full teaspoon out. Let me see if I can find the half teaspoon. So I got a 1/4 teaspoon. So it says half a teaspoon of sweet paprika. We don't have sweet paprika. I just have regular, so that is what I'm going to use. So this is a 1/4 teaspoon. It's calling for a half. I'm going to put 1, 2 of those in. And it says half a teaspoon of cumin. So we have ground cumin here, and we will do half a teaspoon of that. And then it says half a teaspoon of ground coriander. And this I had to buy brand new because I don't own coriander. Actually smells pretty good. I don't know that I've ever cooked with coriander. And then the last ingredient it calls for is half a teaspoon of sumac. And this was the other thing I had to buy. This is sumac. When I was doing research, it seems like This is a spice used in Indian food dishes. So we're going to give it a try. So we got half a teaspoon of that. And then salt and pepper to taste. And then it says 6 to 8 carrots shredded or cut into those ribbons, which we are just going to do our medallions. So let's get this stirred up here. Now remember, this is my first time ever making this. I am hoping it tastes good. And if it does, you know what I'm going to be making. I'm nervous about the cilantro. I am not a cilantro fan. Alright, so this is what that looks like. I'm just going to grab a little salt and pepper and just dash it in there for now. Little pepper and a little salt. And I don't know, I might try this with just a spoon. Interesting. I'm going to take a taste to my husband and see what he thinks. Okay, so Carl, I'm not sure what he thinks about it, truthfully. He said, "Yum, I'm glad you made that," while making a face. So, truthfully, I don't know how he feels about it. I don't know if it's my favorite, but I'm going to give it a try. So, because it says 6 to 8 carrots, I'm just going to measure. So, I'm going to start with maybe 2 cups, heaping cups. Maybe the carrots will make it taste different. The recipe actually just did say to only do half of the dressing to start with, and then you could add the other half if needed. My husband thought that the dressing tasted a little bit like chipotle sauce. So we're having venison with this, so I think I'm just going to do this amount of carrots, and then that way there's extra juice so he can dip his meat into it. But let me grab a fork and let me try this with a carrot. Oh, I'm going to taste the cilantro. Well, it's not bad with the carrot, actually. Not my favorite taste, though. But I'm glad I tried it. Let me take this to my husband and get his opinion. Okay, so I'm going to stick this in the refrigerator for now. Let it kind of chill while I make the rest of our supper. He tried the carrot. He was not a huge fan. We're going to eat the salad tonight for supper. Like I said, we're going to have it with venison. So I'll bring you along while I'm cooking that. But this may not be a recipe we make again. But we will see. I'm not going to count it out yet. I want to chill it and let it marinate together. I think I was supposed to mix this. I think that's why it's so liquidy. Well, Maybe I'll add a little bit of this back in. Maybe that's the problem. There's not enough tahini flavor because I didn't mix it. I'm just gonna use this knife and stir it in there. It does actually have a little different taste now. All right, let me get this all closed up and we'll move on to the venison. All right, everybody. So next, as that carrot salad is kind of marinating in there, we're going to get this ready to do our venison. So we have 2 packs of venison steaks that we processed ourselves in 2022. And we are just going to kind of saute them, fry them up. So we're going to get the cast iron hot. We put enough oil in to cover the bottom. In this bowl I have flour, and I'm going to put some salt in there. And then pepper. And then I'm going to grab granulated garlic and onion powder. I'm going to get a fork and mix that all together. And then right here, I have my 2 packs of venison. And I can see that my pan is starting to bubble, so I'm going to get some of this venison into the flour. We're going to get it mixed around. So to test oil to see if it's hot enough, you kind of throw some flour down in it. Actually, while that's heating up, I think I'm going to grab a plate. And I'm just going to throw these pieces onto a plate that are ready so I can continue to flour. Okay, so that's 1 package ready. And it looks like our oil is ready. So I'm going to get these pieces into the pan. For some reason, my husband and I cut quite the fat pieces when we processed this deer. All right, so we now have all of the meat floured. I'm actually just going to throw it straight into the pan here. My husband and I were just discussing our venison, and we both were wondering why we cut them so big. Alright, so as you can see, some of these pieces, the flour on the top is starting to kind of disappear or dissipate. That's how you know that it's starting to cook through. And I'm going to leave it a little bit longer. While we wait, I'm going to grab a second plate so I can place them onto that plate when we're done. And on that plate, I am going to put down some paper towel just so we can soak up some of the oil. It frustrates me that our stove sits at an angle because all of the oil goes to one side of the pan. And then some of them are sopping or saturated in oil, and some have no oil. Forgot I had this nifty thing. Alright, so I'm going to let them kind of crisp up. And I'm going to unload the dishwasher while that's working. Alright, so some of these thinner pieces, we're going to pull those out. And then we're going to add some of these in. I'm going to put this guy back in for a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to finish unloading the dishwasher here so I can start loading it back up. Last thing I'm going to make with our meal is a baked potato. Now I definitely do a cheater's method and I use the microwave. So you're going to stab a whole bunch of holes in it. You're going to wrap it in press and seal wrap. Wrap it in press and seal wrap. And then put it in the microwave for one potato. Alright, while that's cooking and this is finishing here, I'm going to keep working on cleaning up. Alright, so what I'm going to do with this pan is I'm going to add water to it and try to get rid of all of the stuck on food bits. Alright, so I'm going to turn this up to kind of boil that water. Here's our potato. It feels soft-ish. So I'm going to throw it on maybe for like another 2 minutes. Alright, so we have the potato out. I'm going to cut it in half. My husband's going to have half. I'm going to have half. I just called him to come for supper. And so I'm going to let him make his potato how he wants to. For me, how I make baked potatoes is I kind of cut it into chunks. I do salt and pepper. And I put butter on top. and kind of let it melt into the potato. And usually my husband does something very similar, but he will sometimes put some Boursin cheese or something like that. All right, I'm going to plate us up some venison. And then the last thing we will get plated is this carrot salad. Now remember, neither of us really thought this salad was great. We're both a little skeptical of it. But I made the recipe. We are going to eat the recipe because I hate waste. And we might modify next time. All right, everybody. So that is it. Venison steak, carrot salad, and a baked potato. We are going to sit down and enjoy this meal. After that, I've got some cleaning up of this kitchen to do. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, please subscribe, and share this with your friends. I will post a few videos here on the side for you guys to enjoy until my next upload. And hopefully you come back and join me again. Have a good night.